In today's video, we'll be sharing 3 things that changed our marriage, and we believe that these 3 things can also change yours.
Hello, I'm Femi.
Hello, I'm Eni, and this is
Meet the Obasos.
We've been married for 18 years. It will be 19 years in May.
Yep.
And we've gone through our own fair share of issues like every other marriage. We've had issues, we've gone through things, and we've done like many things that has helped our marriage, grow, that has helped our relationship grow. But we're sharing with you 3 like top things that we've done and we still do, that has really, helped our marriage go from good to amazing. One of the things that we did was that we made an intentional choice to forgive each other. When we first got married, we used to argue a lot. Like, we used to fight like all the time. And it was just like frustrating, and it was putting a strain on our marriage because, when someone says something, there will still be the hurt and the pain and, all of those things. And it was putting a strain on our marriage that we had to like come to a point where we're like, you know what, I have to intentionally forgive this person. Do you remember the message we heard at Well of Life with R.T. Kendall?
Yeah, about forgiveness.
About forgiveness,
like
yes.
Even forgiving them when they don't even. How did he put it? As in
even when they're not
they're not sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then I had to start, forgiving him. I didn't have to wait for him to feel sorry. I'm sure you didn't have to wait for me to feel sorry as well. Yeah. So we would just like forgive one another. Even before it comes to me, I would like in my head, even though I'm still angry, that there's already that choice that I've made, like, okay, I am forgiving him. And that brings me as well to advanced forgiveness. We used to host a couples retreat at the time, but in one of the retreats we had a pastor. Her name was Pastor Busola Jegede, who came, and she just mentioned, she talked about advanced forgiveness, and like she thought about the worst thing her husband would do, and then she forgave him in advance, even before he did it. I remember I got home and I sat by the edge of my bed and I was like, okay, fine, what's the worst thing Femi can do? What's the worst thing? I figured it out in my head that, okay, the worst thing is that you go and impregnate somebody and bring a baby from outside. Okay, fine, I forgive him. It was hard. Like, even the thought of it was so like, ugh. I was like, even like, I was already fuming, but I was like, okay, fine, it's advanced forgiveness. And I forgave him. I did not know. He did not bring a child. No, he didn't do that. But I did not know that, I had to, there will come a point in my life that I would have to like remember that moment and like, you've forgiven him in advance. So it really, really helped, because when we went through that phase of our marriage, that was what I kept going back to, that, okay, I've already forgiven him. I've already made up my mind that if this thing happens, I will forgive him. So so that first thing about us making up our minds, making an intentional decision to forgive was very, very pivotal for us. The second thing that I would say really changed like the trajectory of our marriage as well, what it was and is still, that we look at ourselves as a team. That we are always working together. We are a team. We are not against one another. We are for one another. And I think it's so easy in marriages when people are, especially when they have issues, when they are going through seasons, it's so easy to come against one another. And you can imagine, like, we've had issues with finances. Absolutely. It's so easy to blame one another. It's so easy to be very edgy and touchy, and then we'll be on each other's throats. But I think us just being conscious about the fact that we are in this together, we are walking through this together, but together we would work on this and walk through that journey. A lot of people in marriage, where they look at like, oh, that's my husband, this is me. Even with finances, that people will say, oh, my money is my money, his money is his money. Everybody, to each his own. when it comes to things like that. But I think just seeing ourselves as a team has really, really, really helped us. It has really, really helped us in our marriage. Yeah. Especially when we've gone through like very tough times. It's really helped. Yeah. So now is your turn to share. You have to share.
Yes, I think the third one I will mention is we decided to put God at the center of everything.
That's true.
As in seeking God individually for ourselves and putting Him at the center of everything we do. Like Annie mentioned earlier, the young couple, we used to fight a lot to the point that we will even celebrate if we haven't fought for like 3 days, and we remind ourselves we haven't had any argument for like 3-4 days. Can you believe that?
Very true.
As in, because we're both like strongly opinionated on issues and all of that, so we want to say, okay, this is my point. You're not listening to me. You're not hearing me, and all of that. So we fight a lot. But I think up to like close to when we were about 10 years in marriage, and that was when something changed, and we decided to like what does God actually want for us as a couple. I decided to focus on that, and we started by seeking God individually for ourselves. And one of the things we came to tell ourselves, if you remember, was regardless of what you do, I'm going to love you. Regardless of how you treat me, I'm going to still love you. So my loving you, or you submitting, or me doing stuff for you will have nothing to do with what you have done.
True.
Because God wants me to love you, and I'm just going to go ahead and do that, regardless of what you do. I remember one morning that you were taking the boys to swimming in Dubai, and we had an argument. I can't remember what the argument was, and you were upset and you drove off. I was upset as well. So normally what I do when they go swimming on Saturday morning, I will make dinner for them, lunch for them before they come back. Because I was upset, I just went to bed, and I'm not going to make anything today. I mean, I won't do anything. I just decided to go to bed. And as I laid on the bed, I just remembered that decision that we have made. That everything I'm going to do for my wife is not based on what she does. So I'm just going to love her, and I'm going to do the right thing regardless of what she does. And I stood up to just make the lunch. And I remember you told me what happened to you too.
On my own side too at the same time. I remember driving like a mad person that day. I was so angry. And I remember getting there and I was like, God, I'm so angry. And I just felt that the Holy Spirit was like, take your phone and apologize. And I was like, what? This was what he did. This was what he did. He did this to me and all that. And, it got to a point I was like, okay, so if you're submitted to Christ, then you have to do what he says. And I took my phone and I sent a message apologizing, even though I didn't feel like apologizing, to be honest. But then I just like, okay, I'm obedient to God, and I sent a message apologizing to him. And when I got back home, it was like, oh, it was the same way with him too. And we just had a chat about what happened, and it was sorted within minutes.
So at the point when I received your message apologizing, I was already cooking. And I just felt like this God is just like an awesome God. So he spoke to you at the same time and spoke to me too. And it was just because we made that decision individually to actually seek God first. So that's one, that was the beginning, I would say, of that newness for us as a couple. Like, we want to love each other for who they are because God has said we should do that. It has nothing to do with what that person has done. It's tough to actually do that, especially when you want to love someone who is actually like not responding or who is not doing the right thing according to, from what we are thinking. So it's tough. I'm not going to say it's easy, but we make that decision, and we still make that decision regularly. And that's why we say love is actually a choice. It's a decision. It's not about the feeling. These are the three things that have helped us tremendously in our marriage. It has actually changed the trajectory of our marriage from, like Annie said, being good, just there, to like being amazing.
And the truth of the matter is, like Femi has said, that it's not like, oh, we get this right all the time. There are still times, like for me, that I'll be like, chuck it. I'm really upset. I don't want to forgive him. I want him to know that he hurt me. There are still times like that. There are still times I'll be like, even the teamwork thing, there are still times I'll be like, let me first of all show him some little madness more before I come back to like, okay, we're a team. There are still sometimes that, you do something that God doesn't want you to do, and then you're like, oh God, I'm so sorry. There are times we get carried away with, with who we are, with our own desires and what we want, that we forget affect the decisions we make. But I think it's just being consistent about these things has really been the thing that has helped us. It's not like we tick the boxes all the time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's just we are work in progress, and we are working on it day by day. Yeah.
So forgiveness,
seeing
ourselves as a team, and putting God first. So those are the three things. Some of the things that have helped us, there are quite a lot, but those are the key ones that we'd like to share with you at this point. We hope you have enjoyed the video today, and if you have, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And we believe you have learned one or two things. So in the comment section, if there's anything that has helped you as well, feel free to share, so that we can learn from you as well. So on that note, we say bye.